But first, runaway Democrats. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Congratulations, Dems, because in President Biden's 19th month in office, he's the equivalent of a lame duck. Now, here's the definition according to Oxford Languages. This is an official, especially the president in the final period of office after the election of a successor or an ineffectual or unsuccessful person or thing. Okay. The primary definition might not apply, but the secondary one certainly does. Talk about ineffectual. That's Joe Biden, and everyone knows it. Now, you remember that movie Runaway Train, right? Well, meet the runaway Democrats.
Do you want Joe Biden to run in 2024?
No, I don't. I think the country would be well served by a new generation of compelling, well-prepared, dynamic Democrats to step up.
Well, Congressman Phillips is not alone. Here in Minnesota, you can feel the anxiety building among Democrats, not just in the Twin Cities, but in the burbs as well. Now, another Democrat in Minnesota, Angie Craig, also doesn't want Biden running again, saying, we need new leaders in Washington. And then in an exchange that has tongues a-wagging, two New York liberals in a hot primary also signal the end is near for Biden.
Should President Biden run again in 2024? Mr. Nadler.
Too early to say. It doesn't serve the purpose of the Democratic Party to deal with that until after the midterms.
Ms. Maloney.
I don't believe he's running for re-election.
Of course, the true believers then pretended to be in shock.
Just got to say, wow. I'm really thrown off by those answers.
That's interesting because that's news to Joe Biden, I think.
Yeah, the guy sitting there watching these two, I would be very, very disappointed, actually. I really would. It's stunning, actually.
Okay, that's just bad acting. They're not disappointed. Now, Maloney got clobbered all day long by party leadership, so she tried to walk it back today, tweeting, I will absolutely support President Biden if he decides to run for re-election. Biden's leadership securing historic investments for health care, climate, and economic justice prove once again why he is the strong and effective leader we need right now. Oh, come on. But we all know the damage is already done, right? And then the climate change sellout from coal country, he added fuel to the Biden funeral pyre as well.
Would you support Joe Biden if he's on the ticket in 2024?
I'm not talking about the 2022 election and 2024. I have no control over those elections.
You're a Democratic senator. I'm just asking you whether you would support the leader of your own party.
I'm supporting this bill, Andrea.
Okay, what he's not supporting there is a guy who has spent more time COVID positive than positive about the names of members of his own cabinet.
I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general, but the guy who runs that outfit over there.
And the reason I asked Mitch to do this is because he knows how to get things done.
Now, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Secretary. I'm going to have you speak now.
Of course, the Democrats have no one to blame here but themselves. This is a mess they've created. By running a hologram septuagenarian with rapidly declining cognitive skills, then pairing him up with Willie Brown's dim-witted former flame, they box themselves in. Now, the only thing scarier than Biden with the finger near the nuclear button is Kamala, 100 yards from it.
We can move clean energy from where it is created to where it is needed. It is literally about the transportation of energy. How exciting is that? So the devastation is real. The harm is real. The impact is real. And we are witnessing it in real time.
Democrats are anti-American radicals, but they're not total morons. They're seeing the same polls that we're seeing, the same Kamala, the same Joe we're seeing. Check out this poll from CNN. It found that a shocking 75% of Democrat voters want someone other than Biden in 2024. And the latest Gallup survey has Biden's approval lower than any president at this point in his first term, ever. It's a personal low of 38%. Now, and despite the endless, tedious January 6 hearings and the relentless media hits, Trump is still beating Biden and Harris in a hypothetical 2024 matchup. Now, remember, we told you this a few weeks ago. Liberals are never going to admit, never, that liberalism has failed. Joe Biden has consistently pursued these left-wing policies, and we know those policies have led to one disaster after another. Yet we're waiting for that honest, that self-assessment, but it never comes. They can never admit that the lockdowns lasted too long, or that the government has been too soft on crime, or that Democrats blew it on inflation, because that would be admitting a problem with liberalism, and they're never going to do that. So the problem, they think, it has to be Biden. He's too old, he's too weak, he doesn't fight hard enough, blah, blah, blah. So now they're thinking, maybe we could replace him with someone new. Maybe Gavin Newsom or Mayor Pete, or just maybe we can convince Michelle to run. Like any of them is going to fix the damage that these people have done. Of course they can't. What needs to change are the policies, not the messaging or even the messenger. Until there's a fundamental turn away from socialism, America's predicament will only worsen. And then, one by one, all those runaway Democrats who turned against Biden will just be run over themselves. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.